Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Critical Weight Theory. And this is sort of a show within a show that I call Creepy Creatures and Myths. And today we're going to be looking at Äbädä and the Hidebehind, two different sort of creepy mythic creatures. And I did look into it. The Äbädä is pronounced exactly like that. So don't let all those little special characters fool you. It's actually a pretty straightforward pronunciation. So, as you might imagine, these are forest creatures, as I mentioned. So, you might be able to imagine atmospheric forest sounds layered with light folklore instruments as I go over these creatures. I'm not going to kid you. They're not real creatures. They're just fun little myths. So don't don't go on assuming that I'm in this sort of cult that believes in all of these fantastical creatures or something. No, this is just for fun. So welcome to this episode where we're looking at these creepy creatures. It's sort of a mythos mirror, I guess. And we're looking at the ancient stories that echo into the modern world. And we're stepping off the beaten path and into the woods, deep into the mythologies separated by an ocean but united by shadow. Let's start in the forests of the Volga Ural region, where the trees don't just creak with wind, they guard secrets. There lives a spirit known as the Äbädä, sometimes spelled Abada or Abasy. This figure comes from Tatar and Bashkir mythology, part of the rich Turkic folklore tapestry. And what is the Äbädä, or who is the Äbädä? Well, it is a forest spirit, usually male, often described as a hairy, horned, humanoid creature, sometimes with one leg turned backward, or a single eye, which are some classic supernatural markers in both Turkic and Slavic myth. So, if you're ever in the woods and you see this weird humanoid, hairy, and horned creature with a leg turned backwards, well, first, it could be some naked homeless dude who got lost in the woods or something like that. Maybe it's not a mythological creature after all. Maybe he broke his leg or something. I don't know, and like twisted it backwards. But if you believe the myth, well, then it could be the Äbädä. He's not so much of a gentle woodland sprite, however. He guards the forest and its animals, testing or punishing those who show disrespect, and sometimes shapeshifts into trees or creatures to confuse wanderers, at least according to the myth or the legend. Here's the twist: he's apparently not evil, or it's not evil, at least not really. The Äbädä is considered sort of neutral, even protective, as long as he play by the forest's rules. So think of him as nature's wild card. And, it's a curious and slightly dark wild card, but a wild card nonetheless. Now, here's the part where I get into the Hidebehind, and there's a little bit of a darker tone to the mythology of the Hidebehind. And we have to jump continents to discuss this one, or well, not really. I don't literally mean you have to travel from place to place, but just follow me on this one. I'm just playing around. So in the dense forests of the Great Lakes and the Pacific Northwest, American lumberjacks whispered about a creature called the Hidebehind. Now, I actually favor this one over the Äbädä, because it's a very simple yet creepy concept. It's a nocturnal specter The hide behind was part of the fearsome critters tradition, which is American folklore born around campfires and chainsaws. These lumberjacks would apparently get bored, and they would sometimes get drunk. I mean, presumably. I don't want to spread lumberjack stereotypes, but what the hell? They're lumberjacks. People probably were drinking out in the woods, and they came up with this as a fearsome critter tale. The hide behind stalks the woods, invisible to human eyes. It hides literally behind trees, always just out of sight. You turn around, it's already moved. No one ever sees it, but plenty feel it watching. So, what's fun about this mythic creature is that you're not supposed to see it, and that in a way would would sort of prove that it actually exists, that you never really get a good look at it. And of course, maybe you could put a twist to this tale where if you actually do see the hide behind, it means your ass. It might kill you. So you probably would not actually want to see it, right? So it's said to prey on those who wander alone, especially at night. And like the Äbädä, it too has a weakness: alcohol. So lumberjacks claim that a good stiff drink would scare it off. How convenient is that? Very convenient. So it's a bit of an eerie tale, but also a bit playful because of that little aspect to it. So you've got to love a monster that's afraid of moonshine. So between these two mythic creatures, you sort of have two different sorts of guardians and one message. So, why are these two so similar? Why have I grouped them together like this? Well, both are tied to the forest. Both apparently would punish those who disrespect nature, and both blur the line between the seen and the unseen. And both reflect something deeper, a cultural reminder that the wild is not ours to tame. So the Abada teaches respect the forest or pay the price. The hide behind warns don't walk the woods alone, especially if you're arrogant enough to think you're in control. So they're mythic guardians, personifications of nature's agency, not just places of beauty or resources, but living forces with minds of their own. So it kind of makes you think differently about that soft wind rustling through the leaves. The forces of nature are certainly profound, and it's really a great place for legends to be born out in the woods. And in a way, these aren't just stories, they're sort of warnings wrapped in wonder, you might say. So, why do these myths matter even today? Well, putting aside that plenty of people are still superstitious and might still believe in such things, we live in a world increasingly disconnected from the natural world, and these myths still whisper something important. Nature is watching, tread with respect, don't get too confident or you might get lost. And maybe, just maybe, the rustle behind you isn't the wind. It could be an abada or a hide behind, or it could be, a bear or something like that. Or maybe it is just the wind. Who the hell knows? It could be, if you go out in the woods, you're going to hear forest sounds. And in fact, if you never hear any forest sounds, it can be just as creepy as hearing something out there. So yeah, I'm done with cute little creepy warnings. These are just two fun myths that I wanted to highlight here. So I'm Wade, and this has been, the look at creepy creatures and myths. If you like this episode, feel free to leave a review, share it with your folklore loving pals, and maybe pour a little something out for the spirits of the trees. And I don't encourage alcohol consumption, so when I say pour something out, I mean like, I don't know, Mountain Dew or something like that. Mountain Dew will make you fat, but it will make you drunk. Although, of course, according to this legend, I guess maybe you're supposed to drink because it helps keep the hide behind at bay. So anyway, until next time, stay curious and stay out of the woods after dark because Jason Voorhees might get you. Oh, I mean, the hide behind might get you.